North Melbourne respond to the week from hell with a huge win in Ballarat.
At the bounce, wants to take them on, runs to 50, runs inside, a sidestep, another bounce, has the shot, oh baby!
Welcome back. It's a win. It's pre-season, but it's a win, and I'm happy. Welcome back to Further North, everybody. We've just, I've just got back from Ballarat. Joel's been in the comfort of his own home all day, feet up, room service sort of stuff, I expect. But some of us have slogged it out in the rain and the wind up in Ballarat, but it was bloody worth it, mate, because I can get used to this winning thing. We've said this a few times, but look, we've got a couple of different perspectives on this game. I was there live. Joel watched it on TV, so it's going to be interesting to see. Joel, welcome along, mate. How are you feeling after the win?
Yeah, no, I mean, it's obviously I'm still going to stick with my line pre-season. There's only so much you read into it, but there was a bit of a post interview which you wouldn't have seen with Sheasel sort of talking about, getting wins on the board and that kind of stuff. And I think, it was definitely more important for us to win this than Collingwood. That being said, it's good to get a win. Good to see the boys have that mentality to fight over the line in what was very difficult circumstances in the weather that was there.
Yes, it was. We braved the wind and the rain. It didn't rain too much, actually. It was spitting a little bit through patches, but most of the game there wasn't heaps of rain. The wind was hectic, though. Not that I'm going to try and make excuses for this, but the wind was crazy at that game. But no, look, it was a fun time up at Ballarat. So look, what we're going to do in this pod, I'm going to go through. There's two sections of the last week and a bit of the North Melbourne Football Club. And I haven't got to have my say, and you as well, Joel, on everything that happened through the week and the build-up. So what we're going to do is we're going to cover all of the news sort of the previous week, have our say on it, and then we're going to get into the game and give you a full review of the game as well. So we'll try and keep the pod as tight as possible. This might be a slightly longer one. We'll see how it goes, but we'll try and keep this as efficient as possible. So before we get into all the game and all the fun and all the excitement, so please stay tuned for all of that. Subscribe, by the way, as well. YouTube is growing very, very well recently. It's the best way to support the show. And shout out to North Memes on Facebook. I was meant to give a shout out to this page last week, and the awful performance from us last week, I didn't feel like the vibe was correct. North Memes on Instagram, NORF Memes. They do funny stuff. We've collabed a bunch. Shout out to them. They're doing the God's work. All right. There was a lot, Joel, in the week leading up to this game. The club was absolutely battered pillar to post by the media, by the fans. Basically, every single source that could have criticised this club did. Where do you think we should start? I feel like the biggest talking point might have been, let's go the fallout from the D's game and the fan reaction, and then we can go into the things that led up. And there's always going to be hindsight in this because we have now experienced that win and we know that we've got over the line against the Pies. But your reaction after that, the week after that D's game from a fan base and stuff, how did you feel after that?
Yeah, I mean, you could tell, if you've got your finger on the pulse of sort of the North fan base online, particularly, as we like to think that we sort of do to an extent. You could feel that it was very, very flat energy. It was. Oh yeah, the wind was out of the sails. Yeah, the wind was very, very much out of the sails. There's been some good promise in the off season of fresh start, fresh look, fresh plans and all that. And what we served up last week, as we said at the time, and we'll continue to say, was nowhere near good enough. I don't know what the club was trying to achieve by putting in such a poor effort, and outside of just getting minutes into legs, I'm not sure that's anything. If anything, I think it hurts the psyche of the club even further because of such a poor performance. Then obviously, going into the talk around Sonia, of course, and the board and that, which obviously we'll touch on. That was obviously the biggest one that sort of came out in the, I guess, post-match fallout. And Clarko's position, obviously, every fan, reasonably, I think, as well, is sort of got to raise the questions at that time. And I'll still hold my judgment personally. I think the first 6 weeks is very, very important for us. Yes. And the first 6 weeks, after the first 6 weeks, we'll have a very good look at what we are and where we are. But yeah, so it's an interesting looking week. How'd you find it? recovering from it.
Well, yeah, I obviously put something out on social media just about why I haven't been overly outspoken yet, made a video on it, or posted much about everything that's happened through the week. And I think, you know, I was absolutely drained. And as a fan, and I hope, and this is what we try and do on this pod, is represent the fans, because we're just fans at the end of the day, right? And trying to give the fans a little bit of a platform, and hopefully the way we feel represents what the fan base is feeling. And wind out of the sails is exactly what it was, mate. I mean, you know, and we will touch on more of this stuff, but all the high level, you know, members and the board and Sonia, you know, even the Wardlaw stuff with Clarkson and everything, that whole week got me so flat and down, and I genuinely haven't been looking forward to the season the last week because it's just absolutely drained me. And a part of what I said was the fans deserve to be optimistic about this season. The club put the pressure on them. Absolutely. There's no problem with us doing that. The media putting the pressure on us. I think that is fine. You know, to a degree, it depends how they go about it, but that stuff is fine. And if that's what helps wake everybody up to improve, it is what it is. But as a fan, that shouldn't be my burden to bear. You know what I mean? I should be able to be excited. Fans should be able to be excited. The club has to improve. The media can get on the club, and us as fans can criticize, but we deserve to be happy and excited, and we weren't. And it sucks to feel like that, not even after the preseason, after our first preseason game, and that's how we were feeling. So as the week went on, we got the news about Sonia and the board getting questioned by some higher level members. Now, you know, I don't know exactly what these higher level members represent or what a high level member is compared to anybody else. I guess they just pay more money.
Yeah, probably that's the answer.
And look, you know, it is what it is. I just don't know, right? My take on this is I've got two sides. I don't ever want to discourage members from speaking up for what they believe in, and I think it's good that we put pressure on the higher ups. But I think the timing of that was really, really poor. Like these members are fans, I would assume, and I just think if it's a reaction of the preseason game against the Ds, then I don't think these people might be the best to judge when to question the board, because we had another preseason game, obviously, which we've won now, and then we haven't even played a game yet. And I just think the club doing that then really was going to not get anywhere. No one was going to win with this. If this is happening after round 6 and we're 1-5, I agree.
Definitely,
I agree with what they're trying to do, but I think the timing was really, really poor. My other side of it is I just don't see what that will do as well. Sonia Hood's not the reason our backline isn't good enough. Sonia Hood isn't the reason why tactically we can't shift games and we can't kick straight and all that sort of stuff. You know, the board isn't the people that are on the field. They're not coaching us. They're not setting the strategies. The board gets sponsors, mate. The board represent the club and make decisions, yes. But then I look at it and I'm like, well, none of us questioned Clarkson at the time. You know, that was a great appointment. They did their job there. It's maybe Clarkson, his coaching team, and the players that haven't produced. And the last bit I'll say about this before we go on, because I don't want to take too long on all this, is obviously I watch a lot of Premier League, and blaming the higher ups to that degree, especially in the AFL, really to me feels like we have no one else to blame, so let's find the next thing. You know, it's really just a thing where, like Premier League clubs, right? A lot of the fans would be like, oh, it's all the management. Man United fans are always going on about it's the management, the owners. The players aren't good. Like you're sacking coaches left, right, and centre. Yes, I know the owners have responsibilities and appoint people and upgrade facilities and all that sort of stuff. But it's always just irked me when a fan base turns on the higher ups, which we don't even see. I couldn't name anyone on the board, mate. And maybe that's just me. I don't know. But I just think it's a bit of a nothing move because we're frustrated and we need to find someone else to blame. That's maybe my 2 cents on it. I wouldn't have a problem with what happened with that after round 6 and we're 1-5, hypothetically. And I don't disagree with members and fans having their say and putting pressure on higher ups or coaching staff. The timing was bad, and I just don't know if that's the right thing to do right now to fix the football club.
Yeah, I mean, like I come at it from a slightly different perspective where I don't entirely disagree with you. Sonia has been, and Jen together have been exceptional for our club for a lot of things, like financially. Like a lot of the people probably listening might be too young to remember like what it was like during the 90s and how much of a struggle the club was actually really in. We were saved by our finals, our grand finals, and same thing into the noughties even. So financially, we're out of debt. We're in a really good position, which I really say the board's really been successful. Brayshaw was really big in that as well, obviously.
Yeah.
Then you look towards the women's program has obviously been exceptionally successful and doing really well, but there's no way around, what should be the main breadbasket at the moment being the men's team and them being what I would consider uncompetitive since 2018, essentially. And the coaching appointment of Clarko, I think, was the right move. I think stability's been the name of the game. No side has become more unstable at the top and successful. They don't go together. But it is a reasonable time to start. I think it's a reasonable time to start questioning if after your sim game, you've seen the reason that game, like if we had a successful season last season and we have that one-off sim game, we're not concerned. We're concerned because we've seen that before and we've seen that for the past 4 years.
For sure.
And the concern is, have we improved? Which is a reasonable question, I think. And like as I said, I think I'll still say I think Sonia and Jen together have been exceptional for our club and really great leaders. You need to start looking for different answers. Like I don't look at the players as much now. I think there's some players on our list, but like it's across everything. We need to be looking at everything and pushing everything to see what the level of success is. I think so. It's going to be really interesting. I think first 6 weeks is honestly we all know it. We're the club will be knowing it at club level. The first 6 weeks is exceptionally important for our not just our season, but for a lot of people in senior positions at our club.
Yeah, no, look, I completely understand, and I think it was more a timing issue for me.
Yeah.
And once again, just to be incredibly clear, I'm not saying no one should question the higher-ups and the board and whoever. I just thought the timing of it was a bit off, but I do understand the reaction to the preseason game because we have seen that before, and I was pissed off. We all were, when we reviewed that pod, but maybe just felt a step too far for a preseason reaction. Anyway, Wardlaw pulled the hammy. The media's coming down on Clarkson, Kane Corn. Does he know his players? All this sort of stuff. That's just media, garbage really to put pressure on us. That was pushing back against us. Obviously, all the talk about the articles from the AFL coming out that Clarkson is the most under pressure coach in the entire league, which I don't think I necessarily agree with. I'm not saying he's not under pressure, but I would say like a team like the Bulldogs, who has an incredible list and never seems to play finals or do anything in the finals with the same coach for a decade, is probably more under pressure. I think Fremantle massively underperforming in their final last year, and Longmuir's been there for a long time. They need to do something. Those coaches are probably more at the pointy end. But it really came down on us like a ton of bricks from that week, right? There was just so much negativity around this club. The media piled on. And I was so nervous going into this practice game, not because we needed to win. I don't think anyone
we don't need to win this
really
game.
Cares about the win. Like, it was nice to win. I celebrated. I jumped up when we won. Everyone was clapping and singing the song. It was great. But, realistically, it was the performance that I needed to see. And driving up to Ballarat, mate, my partner Danielle is talking to me, and we met up with Rashan from Closer to a Flag there and went for a feed before the game. And we were just like, God, we need something today, because you can always preface everything by saying it's just preseason. But this isn't just about performance. This is about our football club being respected in any way or improving in any way, right? We needed something today. What was your sort of expectation for this game today? What did you want to see out of it that would ease your mind about what we've been battered with the last week?
To be honest, I don't think there was ever really a great positive outcome. I think what I saw was about as positive as I was sort of expecting. Like, a win is really good, but wins don't matter as much. It's the method in which we did it. I think, like, statistically, we actually really dominated that game, as we should have, may I add. But we statistically really dominated the game. I think we left a lot off the board score-wise. But, I mean, my concern, like, the only result that I would have hated is a drubbing. Is getting really belted, or for us to not show up in that. which I think I thought we played, really good in patches, really poor in patches, but overall, I think we played really well, and we were the better side on the park for the game. That wasn't a question mark at all. I don't think anyone's leaving thinking that we weren't the better team on the park. So yeah, I mean, like what terms of what I expect, I mean, I just really didn't want it to be a bad loss. Like another bad loss would be really horrible entering that. I think the win, when it got to the last 2-3 minutes, you could see that the win meant a lot more to the guys on the field and even to the fans. I think the fans would be breathing a big sigh of relief, but you can see that it meant a little bit
massively
more. Yeah, you could see it meant a lot more even to the players on the field. Like, we've got that, and it's that sense of belief you need to start building. Like clubs can turn this quickly. If we get a number of wins in a row, or like a couple of wins early, you'll be surprised what confidence does for these sides and how quickly it can turn. It's worth watching. But like, I was happy with the result, and I think that's about the average of what I would have expected or what would have hoped for. Obviously, if we had gone out in there and belted them, that would have been the best case scenario. But I think we also got to practice some good drill situations, some good key moment areas. There's things to take away from the game to learn. Bring on round one.
And now we've got to wait a couple of weeks for round one as well. So, look, is there anything else really quickly before we get into the game that you'd like to touch on for the week? I think we covered all the main.
The only other thing I'll touch on is Wardlaw. The media really beat up on Clarko on this, but like no one read the article, obviously. Like everyone took away from it is I told him to take it easy.
The headline,
the headline of it. But like when he actually talked about Wardlaw and referring to it, I mean, it's really unfortunate Wardlaw's hammy's gone ping, but he said that if this was during the throes of the season, this is a 1 week injury. We kept him out for 2. Like people miss out on that part. Like he was deemed physically fit the week before. And the reason that Clarko said that to him during the game is more so like and I'm hoping that he said that to the rest of the club for that first week performance. But essentially he's just saying get minutes into your legs. That's all. Like don't worry about your performance. Just worry about making sure you run out the game. But medically he was cleared. Like this wasn't and they had wrapped him in cotton wool already. They'd put him out for 2 weeks on what would have been deemed during the season a 1 week injury. So let's, obviously he did get injured. You can potentially question the fitness board and the medics, but you can't question what Clarko said and what Clarko did. Like that's not the question mark. It's just the way that the media has painted it.
Yeah, 100%. And this is the stuff. And look, I've talked about the media. I talk about the media in here all the time, right? And when I do that, people have different reactions. Some people are like, don't get caught up in it, mate. And I'm like, I'm not getting caught up in it. I just don't like...
Need to address it still.
Yeah, you sort of need to address it. It's a talking point, right? And that's what we do here. But, it's not like I'm getting caught up and I'm taking it all seriously. I know it's all just rubbish, to be honest. But the fans are the ones that have to cop the backlash from these articles. The club don't care. The people that are getting affected by these things are the fans and that sort of stuff. And, how many people came into the barbershop and told me that, Clarko sending them out is ridiculous. Like, he doesn't even know his players and all this sort of stuff. And that's what the media run with. And, we know we're a small club and people form their opinions on our football club from headlines because that's all they see of us. They don't watch us. They don't know what's going on behind closed doors. And this is something I'll always say. And this is 100% true as well. With all the Clarkson stuff, everyone thinks Alistair Clarkson is going to be sacked and all this sort of stuff. But I think a lot of North fans and within North Melbourne, I don't think that is quite the case, or definitely not as strongly as it is outside. But one thing I do know is hypothetically, if Clarkson left today, the club's in a much better position than when he came in.
Oh, 1,000%.
Off the field, especially, we've got stability, we've got structure, we've got, staff that are working there consistently and not just changing it around every single year. And I think as a fan base, we can all agree that not even just us as the fan base, anyone in football of any team, any fan of any team can agree. You have to build it off the field before you build it on the field. And I think he's had time to do that. And that's why this year there needs to be results, right? And that's why we got so emotional after the D's game. That's why I was so nervous, and I'm sure everyone else was going into this game. So we didn't have to sit there for 2 weeks and just wallow in our own misery, to be honest. So anyway, look, let's get into this game because we want to make sure we can cover everything in a respectable amount of time. Like I said, very, very nervous going into this game. The side that got named, we got a Cooper Trembath, which is very, very exciting. And I always struggle to pronounce this guy's name. When I was with Marnie and Rashan, they were pronouncing it perfectly. I wasn't quite grasping it.
Blamires?
Tom Blamires?
Blamires, I think it is.
Blamires.
Yeah.
We're going to roll with him. Anyway, I'm just going to call him Tom.
Go TB.
TB played, which was very exciting to see him play after him signing throughout the week, which is a good story that came out of last week. Was there anything with the team selection for this game, Joel, that you liked or didn't like in particular?
I mean, I was happy that Trembath got the run because I think he's shown a lot, and I think should be a really important part of our structure this year. I was really, really happy to see Urquhart get a run finally. I think he's done a lot right this offseason. LDU talked about it in the prep post thing, but I've been a really big advocate for his. I think he's going to add something very different to our midfield dynamic.
And he did.
I think he really did, yeah. And I would have loved to have, the only other ones I would have liked to have seen is like a Matlock or a Dawson just to get the runs on, because yet again, I'm not sure like the back line looked a bit yucky today, but we'll talk about that. But the forwards, I think, were very functional. So Matlock would have struggled to probably fit in with it. I think it was actually a very functional forward line. Our mid forwards were actually probably our problems this week, but I expect that to improve. So I think there was a lot that worked well. It's just I was pretty happy with the lineup overall. CCJ gets another run. A lot of people are hating that. He didn't have a huge amount of game time either, may I add, but they're trying to get him fit for the season. And I think there's a high chance, as we said at the start not too long ago, that fit spot on the bench could be a CCJ for all we. I wouldn't be surprised if that was the naming of it, but I prefer Trembath in that currently, personally.
Well, yeah, I mean, once again, we'll dive into it more, but Trembath didn't have a single ruck contest, really.
No,
so, I don't think Trembath will be our backup ruckman come round one, even though that's what I would be picking. But it does feel like we're definitely going the CCJ Jerry combo.
Yeah.
Anyway, look, how this all played out, I mean, ball was bounced, and the first quarter was one where we were kicking with the breeze, and it was an incredibly strong breeze. Like, the ball was swinging left and right, and we were saying, let's make sure we've got a decent lead at quarter time. That was not the case. No. It was all tied up at 19, but we kicked 2 goals, 7, so we've had 9 scoring shots to their 4. And this is going to be a tale of the whole game, which is a positive for us, right?
Yeah.
Because under the lid at Marvel, geez, we would have put on a big score if there was a roof on this stadium.
I think we had 30 shots on goal, which is a very, very good return.
Which is just insane, right? Yeah. First quarter went by. It was a pretty even contest. The second quarter rolls around, and they kicked the first 5, I believe, of that quarter. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 6, actually. Yeah. They kicked 6 in a row. And geez, we were flat, mate. Yeah. And this was the point where I was like, we need to really lock in here, because if it keeps going like this,
it's going to be messy.
I can't be coming on this pod and ranting again. This is going to make or break our week, right? This is what the next 2 weeks of my life as a North Melbourne fan and all the fans listening here, how happy or sad are we going to be?
This is actually very true.
Oh, mate, there was so much pressure on us as fans riding on this for all the rubbish we're going to have to cop through the week. And one thing I'm going to give the team credit for here is the last 2 minutes of the quarter, when they held up the 2-minute sign, I turned to Rashad and I said, we need to not concede. This is the most important thing. We need to not concede. We need to fix this about our defense. And credit to our defense, I don't think we conceded any chances in the last 2 minutes of that quarter.
No.
Our pressure around the ball was really, really good. And we actually created 2 scoring opportunities of our own, which is something we also have never been able to do at the end of quarter. So Paul Curtis, a nice pass and mark inside the 50. Paul Curtis's kick was completely fine. The wind genuinely just took that to a different postcode. So I feel for him there. That goes through at Marvel every day of the week. But then we pumped it back into the forward line again. We didn't let the Pies just transition and run away. We've pumped it back in, and Larkey has scored after the siren, which gave us a little bit of life.
Yeah, and that was Blamires in both those plays, by the way.
Yes, and the last half of the second quarter, it was the TB show, mate.
Yeah.
He was unbelievable. And we're going to get into him individually more, but geez, what a performance he put on. All the crowd, Marnie actually, luckily, was sitting like 3 rows in front of me and Rashana, and how that's possible in the whole stadium, I don't know. But destiny brought us together, as it always does. And we're just yelling back and forth between these Pies fans. I love Tom Blameries or whatever his name. I got to learn how to pronounce his name, so I apologize that in advance, everybody. I love Tom. I love Tom. It was fantastic. So the third quarter rolls around, and once again, like we've given up the first goal.
First two goals again.
We've given up the second goal as well. And then it flipped. Then the quarter completely turned on its head. Cooper Trembath got subbed on for Jack Darling at halftime. Instant impact. He's kicked. We've had a couple of scoring shots. LDU had a shot from about 60 out with the breeze. Easily made the distance, but I never really backed him from there. He kicks helicopters. Larky has kicked a behind from about a metre out and kicked it into the post. And we're thinking, geez, we can't even buy a goal here. And then we turned it on, mate. I mean, Trembath goal, she's scored a behind. The Dove, another goal. Cooper, bang, bang, bang. And we had every scoring shot for the next 10 to 12 minutes of the quarter. The pressure around the ball was unbelievable. We beat the Pies at ground level, which is what they should have beaten us at today. We were walking in the ground talking about the conditions, and we're like, geez, this suits the Pies. It does not suit us. And I reckon we won the first, third and fourth quarter of this game.
Agreed.
And we were actually able to capitalize on the Pies' turnovers because they did have a lot of fumbles in this game. They, the lasso rule, the new lasso thing, they gave up 3 of those to our 1 for the day. And ours was late in the game too. They were a bit sloppy, the Pies, and we were actually able to capitalize on that. Our midfielders felt like they were pushing down to half back more and actually being able to intercept the football before it actually, we relied on Griff and Chom and Pink. And then we were able to move the ball. Now, it wasn't always perfect. Players like LDU and Simpkin, I think, slow us up a lot where they wait for an option and then end up kicking it down the line, or they're running with the football and they just take a couple of extra steps and the kick is fumbled because there's someone chasing them down. But we were pressing, and this is where our forward line looked really, really good, where it felt like the back half of that quarter, everything that went into our forward 50 was going to end up in a score, which was fantastic. I mean, look, the Pie, we kicked so many points, mate. It's unbelievable. Yeah. The Pies got a goal near the end, Joel Cochran, and then we piled on some points. And the fourth was an absolute scrap. The rain came in a little bit more in the fourth. It was sort of goal for goal there for a little bit, but a break, it got kicked into the forward line. LDU gets the ball, sort of volleyed over the top. I can't remember who kicked that over the top, but LDU sort of gets on the end of it, fakes one, handballs to the Dove.
I think it was TB again, by the way.
Oh, mate. I mean, yeah, we're going to get into him, but man, we've kicked the goal and we just needed to hold out. The last, was it Will Parker kicked a point at the 27-minute mark.
Yeah.
And then it was just contest after contest. But we didn't give them much, mate. Yeah. We were defending really well. The pressure was really, really high. Give me an overall picture. I mean, I've obviously had my spiel here commentating through the game, and we'll get into individuals in a second. But that second half of the game, what did you see from North Melbourne as a team that is something that you're looking forward to seeing? Hopefully we can bring through the season.
Yeah, I'll just touch on, I think he probably underrated what our first quarter was from on the ground compared to what it was on TV. On TV, like, the clearances were like 9-2. We were deep in forward 50. We created a lot of opportunities that we should have been scoring on. That first quarter, realistically, we should have been up by 4 or 5 goals at the end of that. And I don't say that in as a North supporter only. I mean, you look at the numbers played out that way. We just weren't good enough to get the scores. The weather was quite trying. So just to touch base on that. Second half, our ball movement wasn't bad when we had it. We moved it well. There's a couple of times where we made fumbles and errors. There's some players that were a bit cleaner, and I think the desperation in tackling, particularly in that last 5 minutes, was quite exceptional. And to not give away free kicks is a really important thing. That's something that we've been really susceptible to doing, is lacking a bit of discipline in those moments. But we managed to not give away free kicks. We tackled very well. Our field coverage, I think, was a lot better. Like, we were, after those first 2 goals of that third quarter, we just dominated. I thought we dominated the game after then. Even the fourth quarter where, that breeze was very strong. Like, anytime you would kick the ball from the center clearance, it was landing 25 meters out directly in front. That's just where the wind was taking the ball. So we were doing, to draw that last quarter was like, and I think probably shots on goal were very similar. Like it wasn't a case where Collingwood wasn't making the most of their opportunities. They were creating opportunities out of the conditions where we were working our way through that. We started to have some really good overlap. We should have had more goals on the board again.
Absolutely, we should have.
I mean, we'll talk about the Lions, and there'll be a few players that get brought up in this situation. But our tackling was very much harder, and there was a lot to take away and like about it. And it was a really gutsy finish that last quarter. I think we yes, I mean, obviously Collingwood is missing in the team, but they had all the conditions and no pressure. We had realistically, there was a lot of pressure on our club going into this week.
So much pressure.
So much pressure for a game that genuinely means nothing. The result, the result
crazy,
means very little. I think it's very good for the players' psyche, though, so I'll stick to that line. But so I mean, I was very, very happy with that second half. I mean, there was a couple of plays where I'm just ripping my hair out, but then I think we really,
that's footy, though, isn't it?
That's footy, yeah. But I think we did there's a lot to like and a lot to take away. Some good ball movement. Everyone was talking about Collingwood's outs, but we've got quite a few best 22 players that are out at the moment, and a lot of them are across the one line.
Yeah, there's plenty there, yeah.
Yeah, George Wardlaw, Archer would be in our best 22 1,000% if he was fit.
For sure.
There's a few there that will be, coming straight back into that side. But yeah, so interesting watch.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just looking at some of the overall team stats here.
We dominated the game.
We've dominated pretty much everything here.
We were the better team for the game.
Obviously with the free kicks. The hit-outs and the ruck is something we're going to talk about soon because I'm incredibly concerned about that. But, clearance is 50-33, for the whole game, stoppage and centre clearances. Possessions, we just absolutely dominated them. Contested possessions and uncontested. Yeah, they got more turnovers. We intercepted the ball more. We had more time possession. Marks, 90-59. Which is a really, really interesting stat.
Yeah. We were the best team by the only time in the game that we didn't dominate was that probably first 20 minutes of the second quarter. Statistically, I think by dominate, I mean as in Collingwood got on top of us there. The rest of the game, it was either neutral or we were dominating them.
And looking at our scoring breakdown as well, I mean, we hit the post 4 times in this game, which how many times is that going to happen? They're probably going to be, they can turn into goals. And
some that just fell short, by the way.
Oh, yeah. And kicking up that left-hand side of the ground, mate, you just couldn't make the distance. No one could ever make the distance.
Well, Joel Cochran, the Collingwood guy, before.
Well, he did, yeah. He launched one and it actually got through.
50 metres plus and got, I'm like, that's a bloody good kick in that condition.
I know. Yeah, crazy stuff. So, look, overall, I think it's a really solid performance as a unit and as a team. I think our defense, I hear a lot of people say how shaky our defense looked. I don't know if I fully agree with that. Don't get me wrong. There's plenty of times there. Chom did some horrendous stuff in this game, which we'll talk about, and did some fantastic stuff. When you look at the numbers, the numbers suggest he had a much better game than maybe visually it looked like. I give massive credit to our defense in this game because I think they held really, really well. None of the, what's his name? McStay got a couple of goals, I guess. But, I felt like Collingwood got a lot of goals from free kicks in this game as well.
But that's also bad defending where you're there was one where it was a 1-on-3 contest and they got a free kick from why are you giving away a free kick there?
Yeah, and that's something the defense absolutely has to tighten up. But I think you got to give the defense credit for holding out when the Pies were always sort of threatening and breaking through the middle of the game. I think we defended as a team a lot better.
I agree.
And I think our key defenders held it down fairly well, especially late in the game and not giving them anything in a pressure moment. There's much to be improved on that. I'm not trying to give the defense a pass because we'll talk about it, but credit to them and, Tom Blamiers, I got to say this bloke's name right, mate, because I'm losing my head here. Blamiers, Tom Blamiers, cool. Blamiers was great off half back, and we moved the ball better, and our defense held up when it mattered. So I want to give him credit there. Let's go to the fence and talk about individuals. Let's go to Charlie Comben first. Because he had a couple of howls in this game. I mean, he's basically punched the ball through the goals to rush the behind from about 30 metres out.
I would like to think that
I think he was trying to hit it to Pink.
I think he was too.
Pink wasn't really looking at it, and he just absolutely belted that thing. shame on the AFL for posting that and sort of making fun of him, and then everyone just roasting him on the comments. Of course, they're going to grab that instead of all the other good things we did in the game. But a little bit boneheaded, but that's another thing that I'm like, I don't think he does that again. So we can sort of write that one off. I don't think he's going to make that mistake again, but that was a silly moment. A lot of dropped marks, and ones I think he should have taken either in the conditions. So I don't want to go too hard on Chom because, we know his potential is great. And when I look at his overall numbers, right, if I go, sorry, apologies for looking down. I've just got all the numbers on the phones here. Like intercept possessions, I mean, Comben had the most for the game with 10.
Yeah.
He was still intercepting absolutely everything. He's taking contested marks. I mean, he would have had a lot of marks in this game. He had 5 marks in the game, but he's doing a lot of really, really good things. He had the most rebound 50s for us for the game as well. So he did do good things and fundamental things. His kicking was pretty good in this game. There's a couple of times he had the ball in the back pocket and he actually hit the target, which we were a little bit worried about. A couple of boneheaded things, but
his game,
I think there are things that he'll improve on.
His game was a mare for 3 quarters. Like for me watching it on TV.
I don't know if I feel that way about it.
Like he probably directly resulted in them getting about 3 or 4 goals by either dropping marks that he should really be swallowing or
I agree. He definitely dropped marks and those little things.
Giving away free kicks and dumb things. Like he I'll back Chom. Like he had a bad game, but the fourth quarter, like I think he stood up really well in that fourth quarter particularly. He didn't make the errors that he was making during the rest of the game. He'll be better for the run. Like Eddie said, it's conditions out there are tricky. The ball's going to be, you have to be able to read it going over the back, but then
everyone was dropping marks as well. There's other players. The amount of times a Collingwood player dropped a chest mark.
Yeah. He's the last man on the line, which is why it looks so much worse when he does it than anyone else. And there was and it's also because the standard that he's created, he generally marks those.
You're right. You're right.
But he had a very, very bad game for the first 3 quarters. He was having a really bad run. But credit to him, fourth quarter, he really stepped up. If we're going by other ones, I guess like Pink and Logue were the obvious ones. Logue, I thought, started a bit shaky, but then had some really good
two
moments.
halves for Logue for me.
Yeah, it was. Completely agree. Logue's second half, a couple of these one-hand marks for no good reason, and I don't know why. Like, just grab it. But like he did grab it, so I can't say do that. I mean, it just creates concern. And a couple of really good smothers. There was one, I think the one that was the start of the second quarter where the guy's done the little dink kick by off the ground, and it's landed on his opponent's chest. With like 6 meters, 7 meters of separation. And I'm like, what on earth has happened there for that to happen? But Logue I think was fairly good. And Pink, for the most part, I think was fairly good. Like not bad, but not amazing, just like an average
No, but
game.
that's kind of what, I think that means the defenders had a pretty good game. You know what I mean? Like if a defender is sort of not to be seen, that means they've kind of done their job.
Yeah, I think McStay
because
was
if
the one
they
that
stand
beat him,
out, it's
but-
usually for negative things as well. So like on Logue quickly, I wrote down a note here saying, I just don't understand how he's so far behind his opponent. One thing that I see from him, and even when he was warming up on the sidelines, because we were right beside the bench and the players were sprinting right in front of us. It was cool as well. The coaching team all had to walk up and down past us all the time to go back to the coach's box. We're seeing Clarko go up and down all the time with his security. Logue, everything Griffin Logue does looks like it's hard, even though he sort of got the job done a lot in this game, but he never looks super clean. And there was another one where it was like a 2-on-1 and he has sort of like bumped the guy, grabbed the ball and turned and the other guy's sort of fallen away out of the danger zone and Logue just relieved the pressure, got the handball off.
Yeah, I think he had an exceptional. I think he was fairly like he had a couple of bonehead moves.
He just looks heavy. Like he looks. When he runs, he looks slow and a bit lethargic, and I don't think his vertical is fantastic, but I don't think he's going to get beaten 1-on-1. You know what I mean? I think if he can get a little bit more quickness right out off the gun, you know what I mean, and actually stay with his play a little bit better, I think he's going to be a really solid defender. Like his intercepting was good. I mean, I don't know. Let me look at his intercepting numbers for the game. I mean, 9 and 10 for Chom and Logue.
And I think he
intercept possessions.
Like just even by comparison, like there was a couple of times, like I don't think he's as slow as he appears on field, if that makes sense. I think it's attention.
But it looks slow. It looks sluggish. You know? But he had a good game and credit to him.
Yeah. And a couple of times he like cut off and stopped Schultz from getting the ball. A couple of really nice smothers on Schultz who he should be getting smothers on him, but Schultz wasn't able to get that breakaway. And Schultz is, considered a faster player usually, or a smarter usage player. So he was able to impact the contest in that way. So I think it was a really good game for a Logue today. And I think I was quite impressed with him. It's a much better showing than last week, obviously, but yet again, very low bar that we've set.
Yes.
But, as a unit, obviously, I think they stood up in the last quarter. There wasn't any obvious beatings in us in the last quarter, but I think they all did what they needed to do.
Yeah, no, I agree. And credit to Logue for coming back and having a good second half as well. Because half time I was saying, geez, I don't like this. I just don't. We need Dawson. We need Dawson in this team. We need to be giving him a run. But no, credit to him. I don't know if he's going to be 100% solid every single week. And that's why I really want Dawson to kick the door down this year. And we need something in that back line. I mean, this is the biggest area of the park to improve. But credit where it's due. If we come up against crazy forward lines like the Doggers and stuff, I do worry a little bit. But a team like the Pies doesn't have incredible keys. There's plenty of other teams like Hawthorn, even though they'll always tear us apart. But you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think we can handle a lot of things if Logue and Chom and Pink are doing okay there. And I really hope, a Dawson and hopefully one day a Blake Threadgold will be banging that door down and put some pressure on them and take their spot eventually. So,
absolutely.
Look, let's go to my guy who I can't pronounce. Tom, have I gone with Blamires or Blamiers?
I go Blamires personally.
Okay. Gee, what a performance. We've got a player, man. He's basically a lock for round one. I mean, he has to be.
He was exceptional this game. I'll give him a lot of credit. His disposal was really noticeable.
6 intercept possessions, 4 rebound 50s. He got the ball inside 53 times. What is this? Score involvements was one from him. 7 score involvements, which is our third highest for the game.
Yeah.
And even just racking up the footy, 24 touches, 17 kicks as well, which I like. It's not too much handball.
And he's got a penetrating kick as well.
He does. It's very Hardiman-esque. I like the look of him and Hardiman off the back line. Foss didn't go back with the absence of Hardiman. Daniel was the one down there. But we didn't see...
Parker actually started off the half back line, according to
This is another talking point that I'm going to do for the back line here. Luke Parker off half back was nearly happening all game, which was very, very interesting. But I really like the look of him, mate, and he made good decisions. He was clean with the disposal, and he looks to drive the ball forward. So, for me, he has to play, mate. He has to play round one.
I don't disagree with you. I think he was exceptional. You're going to get back potentially next
Hardiman
week.
And Colby make it tough potentially. Elmac as well.
So Riley,
does Elmac play over him after that performance? I know we would all want that as fans, but do you think the coaching staff would just throw Elmac in after not playing for 6 months?
I'm going to stick with my original one, which is I still prefer a tall where Daniel is. I just think Daniel and Kirch are hard to carry together off a backline. If you had, the 3 talls and then Blamires, Elmac and Hardiman, or with one of those guys off the bench and Kirch being that running one, I think that's a much better defensive setup than we've got with Daniel and Kirch, because I think they give up too much defensively. But we also had RHJ running off that line as well. But I think they just add a bit more as a unit size. But I could see him not playing round one, but I think he's done everything to put his name forward and play it. It'll just be a question if they want to go with the tried and true of a Elmac and if Hardiman's ready to go.
Yeah, jeez.
I know. I think, and he was fantastic. He was one of the best on field for us today.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think
he should reward that.
Yeah, I'm not confident he's going to get that start, but I think he should.
Yeah,
definitely. Running off half back is still a concern for me.
Yeah.
I think when he got the ball, we linked up all right, and it did end up in sort of bombing the ball forward, but it was improved. I think we got the ball away from danger better, but we still can't find clean ways to link up through the middle, like the Pies sort of did all day, even though our defense did chop it off a lot. The Pies were able to progress the ball off our half forward line very, very quickly. So, that's maybe team defense-wise. Our forwards, I don't think, put on enough pressure today. I think the Pies did run out of our forward line very, very easily, and us doing the same thing on the other end, I think, needs to improve massively, even though I think Kirch and Hardiman will help that as well. I think Daniel's been fair. I think Daniel was one of our better players last week.
Yeah.
once again, it's a bad bunch, but I think he was one of the better players on the ground. I think he was fine today as well.
Yeah.
Trying
It's
to
not a
press
knock
the ball
against
forward.
Daniel. It's just a team balance thing. That's what it
No,
comes down to.
absolutely. But one of the things that and we'll talk about this more with the midfielders, there was more options for us to handball to, and there was always someone running in support,
Yeah.
and that's the work rate that I think we're doing a lot better.
Yeah.
And our
agreed.
midfielders did seem to push back a lot more. LDU even got a couple of intercepts.
They definitely did, and that was noticeable on the commentary as well. They were saying how North's numbers were really behind the ball at different stages, and I don't think I've ever heard that in regards to us.
Yeah, a non-North fan complimenting our defensive ability. That's
Rare.
I mean, that's never really happened before at all. So yeah, look, I think as a back line, we worked okay. There's still holes there. The keys need to improve, but I don't think it was an abysmal performance by them.
Agreed.
I think it stood up when it mattered. They grew into the game, definitely. And hey, I mean, we got the win and we were able to get the ball from our backline to the mids and get the ball forward better than we've done for a while. And yes, and look, we're caveating this whole thing. I know the Pies had a weaker lineup, and even though we were missing more players, and I think a lot of people will give us credit for. I mean, realistically, people just look at the Pies and go, Dacos isn't there, so it's weak. But I always believe system is more important than the individuals. And the Pies had that. They showed that against us last year when we played them at Marvel during the season. They had a lot of players out and the system was all still there. They still looked like the Collingwood we knew. Yes, there wasn't some of the stars there, maybe for individual moments. But man, like the Pies system is good and we found a way to shut it down. And weirdly, even though, the Pies are always better than us, we match up with them quite well. And I don't really exactly know why, because they are such a good transition and ground level team. But I liked it, mate. I liked what we brought against them defensively, and we frustrated them. Diving for smothers and all that sort of stuff, and tackling just before they entered our 50 was really, really good.
The intent was there.
If the Pies made one mistake, a dropped pass or a dropped ball or something like that, we would pounce on them and tackle them and drag them to the ground. Unlike years gone by where they've got time to fumble, they can pick it up, then they can handball, and there's still a guy there that's free and no one's chasing. We did that today, and I was really, really impressed. Two out-of-position players maybe going in the back line. We saw Zerha go into the back line for the last 5 minutes of the game or so.
Yeah, and I think he was...
we saw this a little bit in the Inter-Club. Do you think this is something we're implementing now?
Yeah, well, I mean, like, obviously, one thing that's actually a really good takeaway from it, probably undervalued by fans, is the fact that you had a real match situation where it was a close game.
We talked about this in the stands.
Close it down. Yeah. Really, really important drilling. A great opportunity for Zerha. Like, I think Zerha made a fairly bad, not a bad error, just he really should have drilled the goal that he had the opportunity coming across the forward.
Well, you could say that for so many people, mate.
But he also had 2 or 3 options open as well. Like, I think Zane was in the goal square by himself at that point. Realistically, he should just drill the goal. But he was able to, in those moments, a couple of times, just with pure commitment, beeline the ball and force a further contest.
There was a couple of times he put his body on the line really late in the game to cause a contest, and
Absolutely.
You could have pulled out of that in pre-season. He didn't, and that's I don't mind it, mate. It's an interesting, tactic that we're rolling with.
And I think that was a success for us because of that. Like, I think he was a big part of keeping that score, keeping us 1 point up at the end of the game. He was a big part of that, and I think really enjoyed seeing him step into that.
Luke Parker played off halfback for so much of this, basically the whole game. I don't think he got let me double check. I don't think he got a CBA in this game. When you saw this, give me some sort of tactical insight here, Joel. You're the man on this sort of stuff. Like, what do you think we're trying to do with him off halfback?
Well, to be honest,
because we haven't seen this in the preseason at all so far.
No, we haven't. To be honest, I think it's just to try to help structure up and teach the guys behind the ball, because he's obviously like, we're not going to get anything out of him playing centre bounces. He's going to play centre bounces come the season because we're wanting to win games and that, but we're going to get nothing out of it in this sim game. I think we're going to get when you've got no Elmac, no Hardiman, no Archer, none of these guys that have been, no Kirch, none of these guys that have been consistently across that line. You need to have someone that's going to general. Blamires is obviously there and learning, but like him having a Parker there helping direct a bit. And I think it was hard to tell. I couldn't see a huge amount of Parker in the players and that, but I can tell that that's probably what they're thinking with him, is giving those guys opportunities. RHJ hasn't played that role before hugely. I thought I was impressed with RHJ's game still. I know you're not a huge fan,
Yeah.
but
No. I thought his game was really solid as well.
and when Harvey came on, Harvey was very late on it. I think I'm going to make the call now. I think Harvey's papers are stamped. Blamire's rise.
I've said this for weeks. He's not.
I mean, it was his best opportunity, I think, and I'm still going to give him an opportunity during the season. But
he only got on the last 10 minutes of the game, though.
Yeah, I think his papers are stamped now with Blamire's coming on. But yeah, so I mean, I think just given the lack of players in that role, I think that's the reason that he's probably playing that, and a good opportunity to teach your Blamires and teach that and have that accountability across that line. I think it was the smart. I think I can understand why they've made that move at this stage. I'm not sure if we'll see it during the season, but it's good to have that development and that teaching skill.
It's always something we can go to, though. I mean, it reminded me a little bit of Jack Siebel when he sort of started playing halfback in his last year or two at North. There was a moment, I don't know the exact play here, but Parker sort of got it around the half-back line. And I said, you know what? I actually like this because I know he's going to find the right target. And he hit up RHJ right in the guts. RHJ turned and pushed the ball forward. And that's the sort of stuff that we're missing out on. And if Parker's down there and you got Colby's and Hardemans around him, I think that just strengthens us. He's a smart head. When the ball's in a contest around there, he's going to put his body on it. But I think it's really smart from a Clarkson perspective to go to the veteran and put him down there when I've never even seen this guy at halfback in his career. Yeah. And I thought he was pretty solid down there. It was really interesting to see that he was down there, and yeah, good on him, because I think he was fairly solid. Didn't blow the game apart or anything, but when he's got the ball down there, I think the right decision is going to be made, and we need more of that around the half-back line. I think he helped, especially like you said, with that confidence from Blamires and all the guys running off half-back. I like it. I wonder if we will see it in the season, though. It's going to be really interesting. So, look, let's go to the midfield quickly here. Unless there's anything else you want to touch on.
No. I think that was
the defense. I don't think there's
pretty
too much
reasonable.
more.
All those guys.
Midfield-wise, stats-wise, we dominated. I still think we gave up a lot of easy clearances to the Pies, but that sort of stopped as the game went on.
Yeah.
The main talking point here for me is the ruck. Now, I am incredibly concerned. Jerry didn't look great around the ground. Completely fine, right? His around the ground stuff is going to be the same. His wrestling ability, throw-ins, ball ups, all that sort of stuff, no question on him. His tackling, his commitment to the cause and everything, no worries at all. The jumping and competing, the times that the Pies did break out was when Jerry barely got off the ground and whoever was in the ruck for the Pies.
Yeah, Darcy Cameron, they went in with the very strong ruck. He's a very athletic
there was another
ruck.
guy they played in the ruck that really, like last week, because Cameron isn't the biggest leap I've ever seen, right? Yeah. But they played this second ruckman. I don't know what his name was, and he was towering above him, and Jerry's ribs are going to be exposed all season to this, because he's not going to get off the ground. You can't learn. It's round 1 in 2 weeks, mate. You're not learning how to jump higher in 2 weeks.
No.
This is something that's maybe got to come back next season and be better at, right? Geez, it's confusing. I hate this new ruck rule. It looks bad. Everyone's confused. It's not better for the game. And, not to give Trembath any time at all in there is crazy. He had one ruck contest, like a throw-in or a ball up on the far side of the ground late in the game.
Over the
and he just launched himself. I genuinely believe in what I said on the video I made through the middle of the week, where I think if we're going to play this smart and tactically, we need to play Cooper Trembath as our ruckman in every single centre bounce. Jerry starts in the forward line, and then they swap. And Jerry does all of his normal stuff around the ground, throw-ins, ball-ups, tackling, all that sort of thing. Cooper is only there to compete and hopefully get a stoppage, and then they can swap really, really quickly. Yeah. I just don't see a world. I reckon we're going to leak goals. And lots of other teams will. Hawthorn with Meek and Sean Darcy when he plays in the ruck, and all these big fellas, Gorn as well. Good luck, because I hate this rule. It's really going to change the ruck. I'm very, very concerned for us in the middle at centre bounces.
I'm not quite as concerned yet with it. I thought there was big improvements by Cherry this week from last week.
I don't disagree with you, but he got, like the whole team, got completely monstered. That was non-helmet Jerry.
Yeah, that was non-helmet Jerry.
This week was still miles below his normal, standards in only isolating his centre in the ruck in the centre bounces. Around the ground, completely fine. Loved his game, and he brings that toughness and that edge, and he's a fantastic competitor. I love him.
Yeah.
But he still didn't. He competed more, but it's not good enough. It's not good enough for AFL level. And once again, it's not just him; it's so many ruckmen. I think there's so many ruckmen are going to struggle. So I don't know what we do, mate.
Yeah, I'm still not like. I mean, I was a lot happier this week with him than I was previous week. That previous week,
Me as
obviously,
well.
but as you said, it is a very low bar that we've set with that. And around the ground, he was obviously a lot more influential, which to me suggests he's not
100%.
out of it. It's going to be the question mark of that centre bounce.
No, and can I just be really clear on this? This is not me saying he had a bad
Cherry
game.
hate is back.
No, I'm just saying the ball ups in the middle of the ground after the goals.
Yeah, I get
that
ya.
is the concerning part of it. Everything else, love the bloke.
Yeah.
But that is the area, and that's where momentum comes from, right?
Yeah.
This is why the times the Pies got these really clean centre breaks was when Jerry either mistimed it, and there's not Coleman Jones did the same thing. We could put him in here. I actually think he can jump a little bit higher than Jerry can. And I thought he was okay in the ruck. I don't think he got like bullied in the centre bounce any more than Tristan did, to be honest with you. Our good period in the third quarter was actually mainly with CCJ in the ruck when we really kicked off all those goals. I'm not saying that's got anything to do with it. I'm not saying he should be our number one ruckman. So comments, just chill out for a second.
Cherry hates CCJ love.
No. But
this is 2022
more rumors
again.
About me, Joel. yeah. But no, Coleman Jones. We won a lot of centre clearances with CCJ in the middle at that point. And I'm not saying he was better than Jerry. You guys know what I mean. I don't have to keep justifying myself here. What am I doing? But yeah, I'm just worried about it, mate. We have to change something. And maybe for Port, it doesn't matter because I look at the ruckman there and I'm like, there's no one that's going to jump out of the gym. But it's when we come up against a ruckman that does have a massive vertical, I really worry about our ability to get centre clearances or get first use of the football. And that's where we can get torn apart.
I'm curious.
That puts pressure on our back line as well because the ball gets in there so quick, and that's a weakness of ours. We can't let that happen.
Yeah. I'm curious though to see what will happen with like a Cherry. Like they'll jump high and get his ribs, but then like I was around when they had these rules where you could jump and do that because inevitably what Cherry's going to do is just go knee to knee or go knee to thigh. Like that's what you would be going. You'd be jumping into them like that. And that's when you get the knee injuries consistently. That's when knees started getting blown every week. And that's why they changed the rule to the one where
Shannon
you can
Neal
engage
got an
like
injury
that.
because of doing that last week.
Yeah. Like Cherry come season, like Cherry I don't expect to be, if he's pulling out a little bit against a young guy who's trying to jump on his head during it, I don't really have that much concern in a preseason game. When it comes to the season, what he's going to do is he's going to try to jump into them or jump through them. Like there's going to be a lot more stakes. There's no stake in this game. And like
you might be right. Like maybe he was a little bit hesitant just because. But if you don't do it now,
in the last quarter either. Like Cherry barely played in that last quarter. Those last 10 minutes he wasn't on the field. It was CCJ.
Yeah.
But
look, maybe let me know down below in the comments. Am I getting too worried about this? Because I'm very concerned about it. Joel, not quite as concerned. So let us know where you guys sit on it because, I think we need to mix something up with the centre bounces. I think every team does, to be honest, because I think this ruck rule's trash. But let's go to Urquhart. I want to talk about Urquhart before we go into your LDUs and your Sheezers. Only got 10 touches for the game, I believe, or 14. It was one or the other. Let me just look up this here. But he made impact, mate. He was a big body in there. He was very important in that time when it was very interesting to me that the subs were getting made with the same 5 players. So 3 or 4 times throughout the game, the same 5 were on the bench and they kept doing warm-ups in front of us. And it was this group of Urquhart, Zane, and CCJ. There was a couple of other guys there. I can't remember who it was. But every time CCJ went in the ruck, Urquhart went in there as well. And he was good, man. At ground level, he caused a contest. He followed up. He tackled. It's the type of player, and this is what we scouted him for, right, when we drafted him. It's a type of body that we don't have in there. He's not as chaotic and explosive as Wardlaw. He might, if he's in the team, and he's definitely put his hand up for round 1, especially with Wardlaw not playing, he can be used very, very strategically to be like, if we don't have the rub of the green through the middle, you can put him in there, you can congest it up, get Jerry back to doing what he does best, and then you can get your Sheezers, your LDUs, your Fosses to break away from contest. But I liked the balance that he brought to our midfield when he was in there.
Yeah, as I've talked about him like during the preseason as well, like I think he's really done a lot of things really, really well. His kicking, like it didn't really show this game. I thought his kicking was fine this game, but like it can leave a bit to be desired. But he does everything else well, and the most important thing with him is he's got a different gear than every single other one of our midfielders. All of our midfielders are missiles as soon as they get the ball. They want to pick it up. They want to run one way. They want to, get the ball out of that clearance. He doesn't have to do that, and he doesn't try to do that. He does something different. Like, he will scout at the back. He will tackle hard. He will get that first touch and grub it and make it a really physical contest. We don't have players that do that. He does that. He's adding something different to that mix, and I think the balance is a bit like, he's nowhere near, like, I mean, like, obviously the other mids are ahead of him, but there's an opportunity for him because of the different style that he plays for us, like that different gear that he has that the other guys don't have.
Yeah, I mean, we're sitting in the stands and we're going, we're giving him some nice Gavins because we want to show. We kept trying to call him Gavin Urquhart, which is hilarious. But I think we've always said with our midfield that it is very one-dimensional. And if we're on top, we seem to dominate out of the middle, right? But then when we're not, we find it hard to swing the balance back our way. And getting more, this is why I want Colby in there so much, because it's a different type of player that we can actually utilize to change some things. So, look, I don't know if Urquhart does get the shout for round one. I think he absolutely put his hand up for it.
Yeah.
But I like the balance, and hopefully Clarkson has seen that with the balance. The midfield overall, the pressure that we placed around the ground from contest was really, really good. And I think our skills, especially in the second half when the rain set in and it got a little bit tighter, we were better at ground level than the Pies were as well. All of our players at ground level did really, really well, during the conditions. A little bit of fumbling, but that's always going to happen in the rain. It made me feel like our skills have improved because I was nervous when I knew it was going to rain for this game. We walked into the ground and we're like, no way, we're going to win this. This suits the Pies all day. Many people on Facebook were saying the same things, and credit to our midfield, mate, because geez, we put up a massive fight. The pressure was there, and we've been very critical of the midfield last year for not doing any of the defensive work. But they did that today. They intercepted, they moved the ball forward, and the work rate was much better because they were running together a lot more. There was always a handball option on. Sometimes we maybe didn't nail that handball, but the option was there, and that's better, which caused us not to just bomb the ball as much. Yeah. I'm going to criticize the forward 50 entry when we get to the forwards a little bit, but I think we linked up through them. When we did link up through the middle of the ground, I think it looked better. And even though we got tackled, we always kept our hands free a little bit more and didn't just take the contact, and had an option to pass back to and got ourselves out of danger a lot more than we have in the past. So I was very happy with that. Talk to me about our stars, mate. Talk to me about LDU, Shees. We can put Foss in that category now. I mean, he was a bit quieter on the day, to be fair. I didn't notice much of Foss at the ground.
We get a 24 disposals, I think.
Which is insane because I'm the same.
Leading clearance getter, I think, as well.
Was he? Yeah. So this is the thing. I haven't watched the game back yet, and all those little things exactly.
You don't get a notice as much when
you don't get as much of a notice at the game. So I apologize if I'm not as dialed in on those exact things, but that's why Joel's here to correct me on them all. Let's have a look at clearances here. LDU most clearances with 8, Foss with 6, tied with Shees and Jerry. So, Foss didn't explode and stand out to me personally, but he had 24 touches, which was pretty good in the end. The ones that stand out were definitely LDU probably is the one from the midfield.
I think Shees was so brilliant in that first quarter.
He was good.
He was holding the ball a little bit longer and just getting a bit better options. Like, he's still not the kind to lower the eyes and hit up the target, but he's movement and the way he does it is Shees, I actually didn't love his first half. He got a bit of it, but to me, it almost feels like when I'm watching him sometimes, he's got this real tension of, because he's a beautiful kick of the ball and he can hit targets, but it almost feels like at times he's got this real tension about him where he's so worried about having to do the right thing and so much pressure that he doesn't just naturally play. And when he gets to the stages of games where he can just let his instincts take over and just play, his kicking becomes so much better again. Like, it's just that tension, I think. And I think I see similar with Kirch when Kirch plays. But, I mean, he played an exceptional second half, Shees. The first half, I just said, I just would have liked a bit more. By the counter, LDU during that second quarter got really quiet. I think he defended fairly well. There's a couple of ones where I saw a bit slow running, but yet again, it's preseason. I'm not too concerned, and they ran pretty hard. Powell got not as noticed as he should have, but I think he had a fairly reasonable game. There was good patches where he was really important. Dill not doing a lot wrong. I think
it was a very Dill Stevens game of old, right? Where 15 odd touches, didn't do anything wrong, tidy, played his role, but just a role player in the team,
And defended well as well. I think he defended really well.
Mate, he loves tackling now.
He does.
He loves putting his body on the line from 2 seasons ago, like when he was really, really soft. Last season, we said it. He went into every tackle head first. He dragged people to the ground. I really like his defensive work rate in this. So fantastic to him. Powell was the interesting one for me because I was like, I don't think I've seen him do heaps this game. And I looked at the numbers at 27 touches.
Yeah, he was very
but he's
good.
Like the one thing I do always give him credit for is he's always a good link in the chain.
Yeah.
Right. And he's maybe not the one to break the game open. He's not going to deliver that final ball in. He's not going to do that incredibly courageous thing, but he's always there. He's going to gut run and he's going to be a link in the chain that pushes us forward and keeps moving us forward. And I think that's the perfect role for him in this team is that, fourth, fifth best midfielder to complement the Shees, the LDU, the Wardlaw, the McKerches, the Fosses. And I think he's sort of next in that pack of like, if you can support these guys and play your role around them, you're going to help make them better and make their life easier for us to eventually break games open. So, a decent effort from him. Simpkin is another one, 28 touches,
I was
20
a bit
kicks, 10
disappointed with him,
handballs.
strangely. What's his disposal efficiency?
Well, 71% disposal efficiency for the game. The numbers suggest he had a better game than what I also thought in the ground.
Yeah, I don't know. I just there was a few plays there. I was actually quite disappointed with his game, and I think he's due for a big season. Just the eye test to me today, there was a couple that they're probably efficient kicks or effective kicks, but like he just didn't lower the eyes, didn't hit targets. He just bombed it long, and it's gone to a pack, and that's going to be considered.
He did really well at creating an option to get us out of the back line. I think he pressed out to the wings really hard and created an option and a get out of jail card for us, which I think is a fantastic element for him to add to his game. But I agree with you. Then the next disposal is the thing. And I don't think he had any like really bad kicks or anything, but I think he lingers on the ball a lot. Yeah. And I'm going to put LDU in this category as well because I was a bit critical of LDU first half. LDU can take a couple of steps too many and put himself in more danger. Simpkin can do the same. He had a couple where he just got the kick away and could have got tackled. But LDU had a fantastic game. But if I'm going to criticize anything, and Simpkin's game maybe amplified this a little bit more than maybe LDU did, was they kind of looked like they were in second gear a little bit and kind of were like, I'll get there eventually. Yeah. Or seemed like, I'll do it when I can. It felt a little bit like that. They weren't locked in to be like, let's get the ball there, then I'm going to move and do this. LDU's defensive stuff, I wrote a note here, and I don't know if I believe it as much now after the game, but I just don't think he runs hard enough going back. I said, if LDU isn't just the Luka Doncic of this league, where offensively is like, he's got all the attributes to be really good, but on the other side of the ball, he just doesn't do enough. The amount of times that a Pies player broke out of a contest and LDU was the one sort of like half jogging to try and catch them, I was a little bit disappointed with that. He makes up for it with what he does the other way, but if he could deliver the ball better and just gut run back to actually put some pressure on, geez, he would be like an unstoppable force, mate. And I don't know if he's ever going to get those things, Percy. I think he'd have them by now if he was going to do that. Yeah. I think we have to build a team around him to be a bit better defensively so you can let him shine moving forward. Yeah. But those two players sort of were in that category for me. Yeah. Simpkin more so, obviously.
Yeah. I think it's probably a bit overstated his defensive poorness. I thought he was a lot better today, but that being said, I do probably noticed a few plays today, which I'll agree with you, where it seemed like he's a bit, but yet again, it's long preseason, probably exhausted.
And he's a player that we know sort of goes in second gear a lot as well. And Simpkin is probably the same. Like Simpkin,
I'm hoping
he's been in the league a long time now. He's been in the league a decade, right? So it's like, maybe he was just coasting as well. Which is okay in a preseason game, I guess. Yeah. And once again, we've prefaced this before, but I know the Pies were under strength. But if you had a bad reaction to last week's performance, then you can't play this one down by it's only preseason because then you can apply the same logic to the D's one. The D's one was horrendous. Don't get me wrong, but I don't want people to be like, "Oh my God, the club's burned to the ground after the D's game," and then we win one and we just go, "Oh, well, it's preseason. It doesn't matter." Yeah. You can't have both those opinions. I don't think. I'm not saying we're going to win the flag now. That's Marnie's job. But it was a good performance today, and we've got to make sure we talk about that and pump up the boys. Robert Hansen Jr. Now, not my favorite player.
I was impressed.
Really performed. First half, really, really good. I've never questioned his disposal. Right? We know when this guy gets the ball, he's going to make the right decision. He looks bigger. He was running a lot more and being a link in the chain. And when he gets the ball, he sort of turns and looks to go forward, which I really like. I don't know if I like him going down near the back line at all. I still think he's going to get dragged along and he won't be able to lay a tackle. We did this last year with Robert Hansen. He had a great preseason. He played the first 4 games. We went, he looks pretty good. And then he fell away and we never wanted to see him in the team again. My gut probably tells me that's going to be how it goes again.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
all I can judge off is what he did in this game. And first half, especially, we were incredibly impressed with what he delivered. The thing for me with him is the consistency throughout the game. So first half, tick, tick, tick for Robert Hansen. I didn't feel like he did as much in the second half and went a little bit missing. And it would have been nice for him to have a full game of being able to link up through that wing position.
Yeah, I'll give him like the same place I put Pink last year. Last year, Pink, I'm like, he's going to play games. He's been very good in the offseason. RHJ's done a lot well this offseason. Like, we talked about him being out of contract, and specifically there's two things I wanted him to do, which is turn his 50-50 contests into 50-50 contests, which I think he's improved in, and tackle. And I'm not sure how many tackles he got for the game, but I defensively, defensively I did see quite a few spoils and a couple of ones where he's gotten up and caused the right pressure, and he wasn't getting egregiously outmarked or anything like that in situations
One
where
tackle for the game.
Yeah. And I didn't see him getting like outmarked for what I've seen previously. So I think he's made improvements, and
I agree.
Yeah, I'm curious to see him. Like the way he's played, I think he'll get games, and I think it'll create a question if he should be in our side or not. It'll be curious. Like he's made improvements. He's definitely better this year than he was last year. And last year he did a lot of things well.
He looks physically different though.
He does.
As well.
Agreed.
Like he looks stronger through the hips. He looks stronger. Just he's filling out his jersey a little bit more. It's not like he's running around with these big baggy shorts on and all that sort of stuff anymore. He looks like he's filled out a little bit. He looks a bit more explosive and looks more confident with the ball. So look, if he's playing well enough, I hope he gets the opportunity. It's the consistency that we need from Robert Hansen. But no, I think he did enough to show people I'm still around. Don't write me off completely.
Yeah, agreed.
Just looking through if we've missed any other midfielders before we go on here.
Don't think over of note who we missed.
I don't think there's much more to
turned up on the field at one point of the game. And,
you
can't blame him too much. He played less
10
than
minutes.
10 minutes. So
yeah,
same thing with Cooper.
He played 10 minutes.
It's impossible to assess their games on 10 minutes.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Let's go to forward line then. Key position forwards in this one. They did pretty well
goals,
for the conditions. I mean, Nick Larkey, 3 goals, Trembath, 2 goals, Darling, 2 goals. Zerha won 3, so we created opportunities. And Curtis, I know these aren't the key positions, but 1 goal as well for Curtis. Curtis was quiet on the day, didn't do too much. To be honest.
I think he was beaten on the day.
I trust him to turn up in round 1.
Yeah. There was only one thing I was concerned with Curtis, which is, and it's just not concerned with, it's just more so I noticed his body for the first time and how he's lost strength is there was that one where he got tackled in the middle of the ground and he's gone to push off the guy. I'll tell you what, last year he absolutely 100% breaks that tackle and pushes that guy away. Like it's not even close. This year he got caught and they were crediting the guy and I've looked at him, I'm like, no, it's actually he's lost a bit of the strength that he had, which is very reasonable considering, and I have no doubt he gets it all back. But it was just he's not, don't view this as his final form at this stage of the year.
He'll grow into the season. If he starts a bit slow, don't get too concerned.
Exactly.
He might explode and, take us to the flag, mate. Who knows? But yeah, I think the forwards did pretty well in the conditions. I mean, there wasn't much leading straight out and getting hit on the chest. But I think the contested work by Larkey, Trembath, his leaps over everything. And, his first goal wasn't a mark, obviously. But, it was interesting to see, like, he obviously didn't play to the second half and made instant impact in that second quarter. My God, Cooper Trembath is gigantic.
Oh, I know. The guy's
I don't know if he's just wearing his jersey from last year and needs to get the next size up.
The schmedium.
My word, he is a thick boy. And maybe at the live show, he just wore a baggy shirt and I didn't understand the guns he had going on under there. He is noticeably bigger from last year. He has to play round 1, mate. And I'm a bit concerned he's not going to, because my gut tells me we're going to go Darling, Larkey, and then CCJ is going to be that third. He has to play. Absolutely has to play. And I'm worried he won't.
I'm worried he won't as well, but I don't disagree. I think it's going to be CCJ, and I think CCJ is going to be the chop out in the ruck. That's just my feeling. But like Trembath has done nothing wrong this offseason. And like you see him in the half he played, impact was quite significant.
Straight away.
I mean, CCJ had a couple of nice moments of a couple of nice
He
grabs
was
here and
fine,
there.
CCJ.
He
Didn't
was
do anything
fine.
wrong.
And he's
He took a
wrecking.
couple of really good intercepts as well at one point.
Yeah.
Like he actually, yeah, I can't remember what quarter it was. Maybe it was the second or in the third quarter, our first few points before he scored.
Yeah.
But he took 2 intercepts in like 2 minutes to stop the Pies from getting and
Yeah.
transitioning. So, and look, the kick wasn't great. The wind took that thing. It probably wasn't going to score anyway, but geez, the wind was shocking. But, I'm not completely flat on CCJ like everybody else is, but,
But
it doesn't
Trembath
excite
should
me
be
that he's
playing
going to
ahead
be
of
in
it.
there. And if that's instead of Trembath, then
Yeah.
that's not okay. Like
Yeah.
Trembath needs to be playing, and CCJ needs to perform in the VFL and then earn his spot back if he is going to play.
Yeah. No, I completely agree. And then you'd probably look at, I thought compared to what I will expect from them during the season, I thought Bull and Curtis were a little bit down from where they should be.
Cool.
I think they could have kicked more goals and could have and just down from where they usually are. I'm not too concerned until later on the season.
I trust them to turn up round one.
Zane obviously is a talking point here as well. Like Zane, I think, God, when he touches the ball, it is just silk. Like
he had a moment with Doveston, I think it was,
just
out on the wing, and he kept the ball in play and laid a bit of a shepherd and did a little 1-2 and then broke away into the forward line. Like, do you think they're going to persist?
Yes,
does Zane play round one just straight? Does he play round one?
Yes, he will. He will. He will. He's just like, the issue with him is he doesn't get the ball enough. I think I saw some.
But it's what he does when he has the ball. That if he's that Cyril-esque.
Oh, he's so smooth. Like there was this one play as well where he's like ran through. Like everyone's been like that game in terms of ball rolling on the ground and people picking up. There was so many the conditions was wet and greasy and windy and people are struggling to pick it up. There's one where he just single-handedly runs through, picks it up, does a small little feed hand pass and hits a target. I think we missed the shot on goal, but he created that opportunity and he just does things like that, which you won't necessarily see. You won't see at the ground, but you'll see these things on the thing. And he's got so much class. You just want him to touch it more. And if you want him to get the ball more, that's usually nothing. And then that mark he took at the highest point just looked really good. I reckon he plays round one and he's made gains this year. Like the 2 games that he's played, I think he's not been exceptional, not been anywhere near best on field, but you can see the improvement he's made and you can see why he was taken as high as he was. We just need to see more of it. That's the thing.
It's involving himself in the game. It's very Dylan Stevens-esque, mate. When he touches the ball, I don't have a problem with it. It's just get the ball more.
Yeah.
But we've got to find a position for him. It's probably around the half forward line, right? But the really interesting thing
he was
for
half
me,
back for a couple of times. He's not.
Well, this is what I was about to say, mate. Is I took a photo, right? And maybe if it's clear enough, I can post it up. In the last quarter, right? Was it the last quarter? No, this was the third quarter because we were kicking
with the wind.
With the wind. Every single one of our players was defending in the back 50 except Bezerra. Every single one. We had 17 players in the back 50 to defend. And
in the
really
fourth or in the
interesting.
third, was that?
I think it was the third. I've got the photo here.
When they had
I
the
took
wind?
it with. So we were kicking with the wind. Collingwood was going towards the end that you weren't meant to kick into, right? With the end with the stands in it.
Oh.
And we've got every single one of our players but Zerha was in the back 50, which is really interesting to me because I don't know if we're trying to flood the area to hold, to be able to transition the ball and get more numbers around the ball or make sure everyone's accountable for man. And that might be this back shoulder thing of everyone's got to pick up someone. Maybe this was why our midfielders were defending better because the forwards pushed so far down the field. I'll send you the photo after. If you can see anything, I'll post it up on Instagram. It's really, really interesting. I had to take a photo of it before I wrote the note down because I couldn't believe it. 17 players were in the back 50 and some of them were standing on the 50 line and Zerha was just in the center square. And that's it. There was nobody. And we broke. And I was like, where are we kicking this to? And instead of breaking away and blazing it down the wing, that's when we held possession. We handballed it back and forward, created space, waited for our players to then gut run to get back forward and actually kick it up. And it created the contest. We got it up the field away from danger. So that to me suggests that the gut running and I would love to see how many kilometers did these players travel through the game, maybe comparatively to last year? Because defending wise, from the forwards here, pushing all the way down there, I didn't notice it as much in the first half, and I don't know if it was a thing that got implemented when we maybe had the lead and it was closer. And that'll be something interesting to watch in the first game as well. But 17 players were in the back 50 defending, which was really, really interesting. So what does that say to you? Like, you probably couldn't see that on the broadcast. Can't see the whole ground, obviously. So
well, it means we're probably
what do you think maybe we're trying to do that for?
Or maybe we're just trying to take defence seriously for the first time in our...
Well, that would be nice. That would be nice, mate.
We had some nice...
But it clogged it up. The players didn't have as much space. And as soon as they made an error, we tackled them.
Yeah. And we were probably I think we were fairly better at transitioning. Like, we're not good transitioning offensively yet, but I think we've been better these last bit. And there's a few... I think that's where the players like your RHJs and your Dersmers will probably come into it a bit more, is because... And your Finn O'Sullivans is the ones that can hit up those targets. And Zane... I'm going to harp on him because I quite like him as a player, obviously. His hand passing is so elite. There's a couple of, a lot of players, when you see those hand passes, they are too far in front or just behind. He doesn't do that. He hits targets. And that's why you don't notice it, is because the ball just continues to move. You notice it when they stop. So, and Hansen Jr., a lot of times, he's very good at hitting those 25-meter kicks and at 45-degree angles inboards. You're confident with his hitting in those. And same thing with LDU, I'm not confident with that. With
for sure.
Cherry, I'm not. Sheasel is not doing that as well as he has historically, I think.
Simpkin, you're not as well.
Simpkin,
but then Dill Stevens,
Dill does.
All those guys.
Yeah. But yeah, so and the other one, I think we can probably move to forwards now because we've been afraid.
Oh, yes, we are on the floor. The only reason I brought defence into that is because I was surprised how much, because you brought up when Zane was going down to the half back line. I remembered our whole team was getting down there.
And he had those good. I think he had some really good moments in that situation as well. Doveston, I think this was particularly that second half, it was a real showing for what attributes he brings to that side, and gives a lot of confidence in that we've signed him. A couple of outside of the boot, little jab kicks over the top, finding himself in the right position, kicking goals, doing all the things that you want him to be doing. He's really lethal offensively. And defensively, he tackled fairly well for the game as well. And he added a lot. That was a really good showing for Dove. And he's played himself into that round one side, counter into probably JK, who we'll talk about, I guess, at the same time. And he's defensively, JK was brilliant. I think JK.
This is my point. I loved everything Constanti did, except for when he has shots at goal. His pressure was unreal all game. Diving for smothers, tackling. He was a massive part of not letting the ball transition through the middle of the ground. He was playing a lot higher up the ground.
He was, yeah.
His kicking is goddamn atrocious, man. He is one of the worst shots at goal I've ever seen play in the AFL. When he had those two shots in the last quarter, or maybe one was in the third, I can't
miss those.
I just knew they were points.
They're 30 meters out on a slight angle,
but
and he didn't make the distance.
No. I just think
it's a tough win.
I would play this guy in that halfback or little grubby role over Cooper Harvey every single day of the week.
But his kicking's terrible coming out of the back line.
Yeah. Or there's got to be a role for him. I'm not necessarily saying to defend and everything, but there's got to be, we can use his willingness to throw his body into everything. He had so many plays where he was the reason we got the ball back. And they're the 1%ers that aren't going to show up on the stats all the time. The attempted smothers, the pressure, the dragging the guy down, but he got the kick away and it doesn't count as a tackle or anything like that. He did that all day. I wrote a note down saying, Constanti's pressure is unbelievable. Yeah. It is in front of goal that lets him down. So I think he does enough to clean that
up, though. He needs to clean that up.
I completely agree, mate. He can't be doing that.
Yeah, you can't be doing that. His pressure up the field, as you've completely said, and I completely agree with you. And it's why people are so hard on him is the offensive part, but his defensive part, how far he defends. There was one play which I watched very closely. He's been a big part of the offensive chain, brought it down. They've turned it over, not his fault this time. They've turned it over in the forward pocket, and he's run all the way back defensively and tackled up that entire line. His two-way running was elite. And he put pressure on the kicks, and I don't think he got the result on that one, but no one else runs as hard as him, and his tackling is enough and AFL level and elite AFL level. It's just he needed to drop those goals. He really, for his confidence, for a small forward, Doveston would be kicking those goals. It's not a question mark.
Yeah, 100%.
And they're going to be competing.
I do agree with you.
Yeah.
I think they're both going to play, mate. I think Constanti's in the round one team. I'm not saying maybe that would be my choice,
Yeah.
but I kind of want him to be. I think off the bench, you know, he can play a role, man. I don't know. I don't know why I like him so much. I know why I like him, but I'm trying to be as objective as possible here. I can't just put him in because I like him, right? It's like, I'm so disappointed he didn't kick those goals. I knew they were going to be points.
If he
but
kicks
everything
those
else
goals, he
outside of
plays.
that is
Not a
such.
question.
Yeah, I know.
And it's a great game if
but
he kicks those goals.
I agree. But then you look at like the wind. I'm not trying to give him an excuse with the wind here. And because I think there'd be points anyway, to be honest with you. But the wind was horrendous. So look, I kind of hope he plays round one and we'll see him in slightly better conditions if he gets a shot at goal. But if he can bring that, you know, I'll get on to Dovison in my opinion here because he was phenomenal. They can almost be a fantastic 1-2 punch in that forward line because I think the biggest weakness that we had in that game was leaking out of our forward line and the Pies transitioning it really, really fast. And I still trust him to be the best thing we've got to stop that or slow that down as much as possible. And that is a role that somebody can play. And now he's not going to be our only small forward and Dovison is there. That 1-2 combination might work pretty well until Constanti can fix that up about his game. But I think there's a role to play and something that they can both like play off each other, which I think is important. But look, I'll go to Dovison here quickly because this pod's gone for nearly an hour and a half. So we need to finish this up in a second. I have spoke about in the preseason how concerned I am when Clarkson or anybody says his ability to play up the ground is really, really good. And I go, but he doesn't have to do that, Clarkson. He can just hang around in the forward line and crumb the packs and be that annoying little player. And mate, he was in the perfect spots. This is the exact thing that we have missed. He's always at ground level to sweep something up. He's always roaming around the outside of the packs to receive a handball from our ground level work, and he has goal sense. Yeah. This is the exact player we've been missing for a long time.
And clean, very clean.
And he's clean as well, and he tackles as well. He's not going to just get thrown off the ball really, really easily. So I love that he didn't play up the ground much at all. And I don't want to see him. He needs a netball bib. He needs a goal shooter bib. And you can only play in the front third, mate, because I don't want to see him up the ground at all. He's a wasted talent up the ground. He needs to be forward of center and getting into that 50 if the ball is there. I don't want him up the ground at all. That is the perfect position he needs to be in. He'll kick multiple goals, you know, in so many games this year, if he can roam those packs and be on the outside. Look, am I being a bit sarcastic there? Maybe so. Like, of course, if he gets up the ground and makes something happen, I'm fine with that. But
he made a lot of things happen.
I don't want those players up there, mate. We're not. Yeah. What's the point of having the Dove in the midfield when you can have RHJs and Dill Stevens through there and all these other guys? That's their job. Get the ball forward because they can't kick goals and he can kick goals. If you can kick goals in this team, go to the forward line. If you can't, go away from it. It's as simple as that.
No, yeah, I mean, I agree. I mean, like, Dove is definitely, I like Dove up the field. I love him doing everything because, like,
I like him kicking goals, mate.
As long as he's there for, like, the, you know, crumbing situation, but, like, so many times.
As long as he's there when he needs to be, I agree. Yes.
And he was, like, but, like, so many times he's managed to create shots on goal and create chain plays. That second half was such a good example of a lot of it. Like, the 1-2, so one that you were talking about with Zane was a really good one as well, where and then, like, he hits targets. He's just clever with that disposal. We've got a player there. Like, we've definitely got a player.
No, I completely agree. So, look, fantastic stuff by the Dove. I'm very, very excited for him this year, wearing number 1. I didn't see many celebrations, but it was a preseason game.
Yeah, preseason.
So it's okay. No Constanti shushes or anything like that. So, look, overall,
we need the
happy
shush
with
back.
today.
I'm happy for Constanti to shush as much as he likes if he can kick goals from 30 metres out directly in front.
That is true. If he tackles someone and stops a break and then he shushes him, do that.
Do that.
You know?
No, kick
then
a
you can
goal.
just step over him like Allen Iverson. Yeah, you're right. Anyway, look, I think this is all we could have really asked for as North fans from this game. Yeah, we could have smashed them, I guess, but realistically, we're probably not going to do that. Yeah. You just couldn't have asked for more of a response, 2, a good performance in hard conditions, and 3, some young players like a Trembath, like a Dovison, Urquhart, all these guys stepping up and putting their hands up, and Blamires as well, putting his hand up for round 1 selections. I think North ticked a lot of boxes this week. It's taken the pressure off us, which we needed. We got 2 weeks now to get our focus on round 1, and let's go out and beat the Power, mate.
Yeah.
We needed this as North fans as well. I think we can all breathe a sigh of relief. It was a good performance. I'm going to go watch the replay to see all the little things on the TV because I want to see like all that Zane and Dove 1-2 happen right in front of us. But there's so many other things that I didn't see around the ground because we're isolated on one side. So I'm excited to go watch it. But look, as North fans, and let me know if you agree with this, that I think we've got to be really happy with what we saw today.
Oh yeah, no, I mean like I'm not going to let the joy be taken away from like it. It's a preseason game. I understand it's not the read, but like we played some situations really well. There was massive improvement from last week as a whole, and there's a lot of things that we were able to enact and defended doggedly, which we haven't seen that much of as a whole anyway. So
no red time goals as well. We actually created chances in red time. Well,
first quarter, I think we gave away one, but
that's not red time, mate. There's too many quarters.
But we kicked red time goals as well.
We did.
Yeah. So like it was. I was happy with that. There's a lot to take away. Very positive. Let's bring on the Power and the Ice Bath trophy.
If he even plays, mate.
Well, apparently
he hasn't been doing his ice bath.
They're doing a bit of what do you call it? I think he pushed someone into the back. There's a chance of a tribunal. Look, he's doing everything he can to try to get out of this game in Melbourne.
I wouldn't expect anything less from such a coward.
Judas.
Anyway, look, thank you, Joel. We might finish it up here. An hour and a half. If you've listened through all of this,
congratulations.
You're a proper fan. But look, we did say it was going to be longer at the start. There was so much to cover. We wanted to cover all the stuff through the week as well. So thank you for tuning in. Thank you for listening. If you're on YouTube, please subscribe. It helps the channel so much. Like and leave your thoughts below. Please don't try and dampen any excitement as a fan by it's only preseason. Enjoy it. We played really well. Take this and let's move forward with it together, okay? Any commenters just trying to dampen all the moods, we don't need that and you're not helping. So keep it positive in the comments. Get around the boys. I'm really happy with the performance today. Okay, I'm going to sleep well tonight, Joel. Back to Ballarat and back in one day. I've done a lot. And hey, the new spray jacket is on too, and it's only seen wins so far as well. So I'm very, very excited. Joel, thank you for joining me once again. We'll hear from you very soon.
No, thanks for having me, Josh. Take care.
See you guys. Have a good one.